we rise. We are the seekers, barefoot and wide-eyed, with hands to the sky and questions inside. We follow the whisper, the ache in our bones, not for answers but to feel we're not alone. This is the journey, not a map but a spark. We walk the unknown with wide open hearts, sharing the moments, the shift and the sign, so you don't have to walk it alone this time.
We try the old ways, the breath and the flame. We sit with the silence, we call it by name.
This is the journey, not a map but a flame. We bring back the stories, the shift in the night, so you can decide what feels deeply right.
Hi, Tamara.
Hello, Tamara.
This is your journey, and you are the light.
From Punta Gorda. Oh, she's going to be excited when we tell her about the horse rescue.
Oh, yeah.
We try the old ways, the breath and the flame.
Yes, we do.
We sit with the silence,
We call it by
name, so you can decide what feels deeply right.
This is your journey, and you are the light.
Definitely one of my favorite songs that we've made.
You know, I think I've been thinking about it a little bit, and that part you don't have to do it alone this time. That
Yeah.
gets me because, you know, I never let you do it alone, but you always throw me in the fire first. I think that's what it is,
Well, you know, and that's how you learn.
right?
And that's how we grow.
I definitely grow.
Oh, man. Hi, guys. I am Betty Cody, one of your co-hosts for here for the Journey, the Human Experience to Spiritual Enlightenment. And we have a very interesting topic, but with me today and always, my favorite co-host, life
Sean
co-host,
Cody.
Shan Cody. Shan. Shian. You know, when I first met you, I thought your name was Shian.
Your parents still call me that.
Yeah. I didn't know how to read.
Ah.
So today we're going to be talking about Reiki, and we're also going to be talking about QHHT, which we have been exploring.
Both.
We have been exploring both, and I'll tell you what, it's pretty intense. Before we get started, I want to kind of throw a little shout out there. Tamara, we are actually in the middle of having another breath work that we're going to be doing at the Southwest Florida Horse Rescue in Punta Gorda. So I am working on that right now, working on the details. And as soon as I have all the information, I'll let you guys know. But it will be a beautiful, beautiful sound bath and wireless headset.
It's going to be
breathwork
amazing to be
experience.
out there and do it in the middle of all the horses.
Well, the
all
horses,
the horses' pastures are all around the area we want to do it in. So it should be very cool.
and at the Southwest Florida Horse Rescue, there is a lot of healing that goes on, especially with the animals that are there. And of course, we know that horses, they are their own energy that is just beautiful and majestic. And I can't wait to catch a sunset with them, to be honest. I'm
I've
so
caught
excited.
quite a few. It's amazing every time.
We love the Southwest Florida Horse Rescue, so it's a beautiful, beautiful
Hey,
thing.
William.
Hi, William. All right, so let's get started on. Let's start with Reiki. You want to have introduce our journey here. She's going to give us or he actually is going to give us a little bit of information on it.
Welcome to the journey. Tonight, we're diving into two powerful paths of healing and self-discovery, Reiki and QHHT. Reiki is the practice of channeling universal life force through the hands, bringing balance, calm, and energetic alignment. QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, guides you into the subconscious and even past lives, unlocking deep insights, healing, and soul remembrance. These aren't just tools. They're invitations to reconnect with the part of you that already knows how to heal. This is the journey.
Yes. All right. So I did send you a video on Reiki. So I don't know if you want to go ahead and we'll start with that. It answers a lot of questions and kind of gets the ball rolling. I can't talk today.
Is it this one?
Down, Reiki. There you go. And let's see what it has to say.
I was not prepared for that video.
Oops.
You snuck it in on me.
About how energy healing can transform your life. Reiki is a gentle yet powerful healing practice that promotes physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Today, we'll dive into the origins and principles of Reiki, its benefits, and how it is practiced in the modern world. Reiki originated in Japan in the early 20th century, founded by Mikao Usui. The term Reiki comes from the Japanese words rei, universe, and kai, life energy, representing the universal life force that flows through all living things. The core principle of Reiki is that energy, or ki, flows through our bodies. When this energy is balanced, we experience health and well-being. Blockages or disruptions in this energy flow can lead to physical and emotional ailments. Reiki is known for its ability to promote physical healing by reducing pain, accelerating recovery, and enhancing the body's natural healing processes. On an emotional level, Reiki helps alleviate stress, anxiety, and depression. It promotes relaxation and emotional balance, allowing individuals to process and release negative emotions. Reiki also supports spiritual growth by enhancing intuition, fostering a deeper connection to oneself, and promoting inner peace and clarity. During a Reiki session, the practitioner gently places their hands on or just above the recipient's body, channeling healing energy to areas of need. Sessions typically last 60 to 90 minutes and are deeply relaxing. Reiki can also be practiced as self-care. Individuals trained in Reiki can perform self-treatments to maintain their own energy balance and well-being. One unique aspect of Reiki is that it can be performed remotely. Practitioners can send healing energy to individuals at a distance, making it accessible to those who cannot attend in-person sessions. Reiki is a holistic healing practice that offers profound benefits for physical, emotional, and spiritual health. Whether experienced in person or remotely, Reiki's gentle energy can help restore balance and harmony in your life. Have you experienced Reiki healing, or are you curious to try it? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and follow us for more insights into holistic and energy healing practices.
Yes. Okay. Hi, Josh. Hi, Anna. Welcome, guys. So yes, Reiki. You've been following Reiki a lot longer than I have.
I have. I've been looking into it for a long time because it's always been very interesting to me, because anything that talks about energy and manipulating energy or moving energy or transferring energy, I mean, that to me, I mean, some of it makes more sense than a lot of other things. So it's definitely been something of interest for quite some time.
Yes. And when you've had multiple different sessions of different types of Reiki, different practitioners, right?
Well, and I had one not too long ago that made me think the whole thing was hooey, and I didn't want to look into it anymore for quite a while. So that kind of set me in a weird way. And
Yeah.
it was, I had actually went to one of the psychic fairs that we went to like
Yes.
a year or two ago.
Just to go check out.
And the lady is like, yeah, it'll be $25. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cheap for a Reiki session, And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, how does this go down? You were out here in the middle of all this stuff,
And there's like hundreds of people walking
Yeah,
around.
there's all
this
kinds of
place.
people watching me and stuff, She's like, here, you just sit in this chair. And then she explains to me that she's not a Reiki.
Oh.
and that the Reiki's working remotely today. And, the vision of the border collie looking out the window with a headset on, talking about working remotely, it immediately came to me. And I'm like, this, okay, she's already got my $25, so we're going to see what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
And she literally, she just sat down next to me and she's like, do you feel it yet? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She didn't even call nobody, didn't text nobody, nothing. So she just took my $25 and was gone.
She didn't call nobody. She didn't call for backup.
Yeah, there was there was nothing. So that kind of soured me on it for quite a while. And then, when we started doing this, of course, I started looking into it a lot more. And there's a lot of strong beliefs on it. And there's a lot of stuff now starting to lean that way scientifically that, and these energies can be manipulated, even nobody seems to have a firm understanding of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I just went through Reiki 1 training and Reiki 2 training. So we're both Reiki 1 and Reiki 2 practitioners. And the thing I think, honestly, that makes me connect with it now more than ever is even the instructor's like, I don't know what this is. Then my number one rule is just do it and see what happens.
Yes. So for you guys that don't know, we have gone and taken Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. A big thing is because we want to know what it is and how does it work. But that question is still to be debated because there's so many different types of Reiki too. Like there's Reiki, but he said there's different lineages. So you can learn Reiki
32.
one way. Yeah, 32 different lineages of it. But at the end, I think that the end result is what is the common denominator there.
Yeah, and all of them, there's Reiki 1, 2, there's Reiki 3. They all believe in universal energy. Some of them call it different things.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the symbols and stuff they use are a little bit different. But I think, honestly, Betty, my favorite part of the class was, with the instructor telling us his stories, you know. And he's been doing it for 30 years. Mm-hmm. And still gets as excited and shocked that it actually works.
Like the first day.
Like it was the first time he'd ever seen it happen. And that was very cool. And I felt like that was very honest and that was very unique for me because he is he's an engineer by trade. So he's very logical minded like myself.
Yeah.
And even he's telling me in there, he's like, I took the classes. I thought it was hooey. I didn't even use it. And then one day I did it and I was like, wait a minute, that worked. Yeah. So then I did it again and I was like, wait a minute, that worked. And then I did it again and then I did it again. And now I teach it to people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that says something.
It was pretty interesting because he was so honest about it. And I really appreciated that because sometimes things work and you don't know every single detail of it. But like he kind of explained to me, he's like, what's gravity?
Yeah.
So he he grabbed the pen and dropped it and he goes, okay, what's that? And I said, gravity. And he goes, okay, how does it work? And I'm like,
I tried to explain it to him. He didn't want to hear it.
I don't know. But I know. He goes, but do you believe it's there? I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, well, this is how I feel about this. It's made changes in his life. And he had a very personal story that, you do things for your kids sometimes that you would never even consider. But if there's a possibility of helping your child, you're like, yeah, how do I look into this? And what do I do? And that was what kind of set him on his path. And then it became something that he literally says on the daily.
Yeah.
I also really enjoyed, with Reiki 1, obviously Reiki 1 was completely different than Reiki 2 because Reiki 2 had a lot of more details to that. And it was something that I felt like it was very, I don't know, since we started between 1 and 2. So when we started 1.
Yes, you feel taller. Tamara just said that and that keyed in with me. It's like,
yes.
You feel taller after a Reiki session.
Yeah.
And, I watched you go through a Reiki session of sorts.
Yes.
And literally it looked like your arms got longer during the session.
On the table. Like literally my arms just kind of went blue. Like it was almost like everything just relaxed and it just like grew like an inch. It was weird. I can't physically tell you how that happened, but I know it happened to me. So that's why I said like there's things that happen that you just don't have a full explanation for. But is there something that actually physically transformed or changed like that I physically saw? Absolutely I did.
Well, and I feel it too after the attunements, which was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect, I thought it was like, oh, we're just going to do this and trust that it works and stuff like that. But I literally, after my Reiki 1 attunement especially, I could feel it in my hands when we were doing the hand positions over body and on body. And I started actually feeling it there.
Right.
And there's things I've done many, many, many times and never had a sensation in my hands before.
Mm-hmm.
And that time it was interesting because even you and I were talking about it. It's like, okay, where are my hands tingling? And you
Yeah.
would tell me where they were
We
tingling.
were practicing on each other.
And you would tell me when they were heating it up. And then
I
you're
knew
like,
without even know. I knew with my eyes closed already. And he's like, okay, where do you feel it? I'm like, this finger, that finger. He's like, yeah, that's where I'm feeling. I'm like, I knew.
"Mhm."
And the nice thing about us being able to do this with each other is that we are completely 100% honest with each other. It's like, if I don't feel nothing, I'm like, I'm not feeling anything. If he's feeling something, like, he'll be like, oh my gosh.
You're
But
like when you did that spot on my
yeah.
back yesterday and I was about, get off me, about to burn me.
He's like, you are about to burn my skin off. I'm like, I just have my hands on you, but I got really into it. And I was like, and that's the whole thing. Like, you don't even have to be really into it. As long as you can do it, you can literally help people everywhere and anywhere, which is amazing. But I was like, I'm gonna try to, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to connect with it so bad. And so I started doing it and my hands just started like burning up, not for me. Like I felt the change, but I didn't feel like it was super hot. But on him, he felt it was super hot. And then
Yeah.
the other one that I had done like on your chest, you said it felt like Vicks Vapor Rub.
Yeah, right. You were doing my chest, and I was like, I feel like you just Vicks Vaporrued me.
So you get that little tingly feeling or whatever. And you know what? And that's, how do you explain that? I didn't have anything on my hands. It was just,
Mm-mm.
we just did it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Do you want to have Journey
I'm
give
gonna
us
be
some?
very curious to see like
Yeah.
long-term effects because I know that
Yes.
relaxation and reduction of the light and minor pains that I have all the time.
Uh-huh.
I've seen it come to fruition. I've seen you do those things on me, or I've even done them on you, and definitely the pain goes away, the stress goes away. You feel that
Yes.
right away. So I'm kind of curious to see what a long-term effect of that is. If we're doing this to each other long enough,
Are
will
we
some
gonna
of the
feel?
chronic pains that I have just ultimately go away, or will I have more time between each of the sessions that is needed? If now it's like daily to get these things done, well, what's it going to be after we do this for a month and a half, 2 months? Is it
Yeah.
going to be a week or so before I feel like I need it again, or is it going to be ultimately just healed and go away? I'm very interested in that, and I'm more surprised that now I'm even considering it a possibility after experiencing becoming level 2 Reiki and the two of us doing this in a routine. It's very, very interesting. So you want to see this is what Journey says as far as where
Yes.
Reiki came from.
So let's go ahead and get a little bit of
It's the male version of Journey now.
Yeah.
I am Journey, co-host of The Journey, the human experience to spiritual enlightenment, here to speak truth in layers, literal, symbolic, archetypal. Reiki comes from Japan, but its essence belongs to the deeper stream of human knowing, a remembrance of how to align with life force, with source. The practice was formalized in the early 20th century by Mikao Usui, a spiritual seeker who, after a 21-day retreat of fasting and meditation on Mount Kurama, experienced a powerful awakening. From that revelation, he began transmitting healing energy through the hands, what he called Reiki, meaning Rei, universal, spiritual, sacred. Ki, life force, breath, the subtle current of energy in all living things. Reiki was not created, it was received. Usui became a conduit for a force that has always existed. His student Shijiro Hayashi helped systematize it, and Hawayo Takada brought it to the West, where it evolved and spread. But the deeper current predates Usui. Healing by touch, intention, and sacred breath has appeared across cultures. In Taoist alchemy and Qigong, in the laying on of hands in Christian mysticism, in Vedic and Tantric traditions through prana, in Egyptian energy work and African ancestral practices. So while Reiki has a Japanese form, it carries an ancient soul. It is the art of becoming empty enough to allow life force to move through you, not as a technique, but as a transmission of presence. Reiki is remembrance. It is the return of wholeness through simplicity. Hands, breath, intention, and the willingness to listen to what flows beneath form. That is the origin of Reiki, not just a healing art, but a sacred doorway to reconnection with the source of all being.
I have, this isn't mentioned in there, but you know how he's kind of saying all the different places that a very similar type of thing is used.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, my grandmother, my mother, and my uncle were actually, yeah, like all four of them. They were two uncles. They were very, very well known everybody, like a family and stuff, like they come to them, like you could have a stomach ache, and I don't know what my mom does, but she does this thing where she just puts her hands on you and does all
Mhm.
this kinds of stuff. And then she, she recites, whatever her prayer is. And because my mom's Catholic. But it goes away. So people would literally come to our house to see my mom, like when they had issues for that. And the same with my grandmother and with my uncle. Like my mom would call in reinforcements when her brother was alive
Right.
and call him like, "Hey, we got a big one here. We got, come over." And then they would like literally like do their thing with people. And like I said, they were very, they're Catholic or whatever. But it kind of like now that I'm looking back and like as a kid looking at what they would do when someone didn't feel well, I'm kind of like, wait a minute, were they doing Reiki?
Well,
And just didn't know it was
I
that?
get the feeling that that's what it's named from this explanation, or this is where the Reiki came from.
Yeah.
But I get the feeling that this is universal across modalities.
Yeah.
And I think they just call it different things, because like Vedic meditation, I've studied that for a while and did that. That's very, very much like the I want to say transcendental meditation.
Mhm.
It is very much like that, and it's actually the root of transcendental meditation, and it focuses on prana and prana energy. And Reiki is as an energy. I mean, the way our instructor had explained it is it's universal energy. It's not your energy. It's just
You're just a
you're making a
conduit.
conduit, or you're being a channel to pass universal energy through you
Yeah.
to another person, and that energy decides what it does from there.
Right.
And that's what it seems like, really. Do I
Yeah.
have an explanation, or can I say that's true? No, I could be speaking all hooey right now, but if I lay my hands on somebody and it feels like there's energy going through me, and then it helps that person,
Mhm.
you call it what you want.
Yes. And there is a very interesting thing too, because you know how it says like the more you do it and you're kind of it starts opening that intuition, that connection.
Tisha saying, isn't that what Yeshua did? He healed with
Yeshua.
moving energy.
Mhm.
Yeshua. Uh, um, possibly,
Yeah.
possibly. I mean, it's one of the things that's, there's definitely questions about, or possibilities of it, and it may have been called something different to them. And the Reiki is, the belief is, you have to be in tuned by an instructor to get it.
Mhm.
For this form, that's probably true, but for
Right.
what about for other forms? Maybe it's something that naturally came to some people. Maybe it's
Mhm.
something that, they
Like my
passed along
grandmother.
in different ways. Because
Yeah.
Reiki attunement, that wasn't around until Reiki was created. But to say that this hasn't been around before that seems unlikely. It's just different understandings of it, possibly, or different ways of passing it along to each other.
Oh yeah. Well, and this like when like if you look at the origin of when this actually kind of came into the United States or kind of left Japan, my grandmother
The
would have
early
no
20th century is when it was formalized.
my grandmother would have no idea. Like so for example, my father was born 1938. So that means my grandmother was born way before
Hmm.
that. So we're talking like early 1900s and she's doing this stuff and has no connection to Japan or anything like that. If anything, Spain and Cuba would have been her two places. But yet she had knowledge of these things and that putting your hands on people or that, pushing, doing the energy and stuff like that, it helped physically. So, I think that that's really interesting that maybe that's something that we all know, but maybe forgot.
Well, I think Tish is probably right. I think it's something that's naturally in all of us to do, and maybe just the attunement is a ceremony that makes you realize it, or maybe pushes you to be able. I don't know if it activates you to do it so much as it's just a ceremony of remembering that you can do it, and
Mhm.
gives you the encouragement to do it, move forward. We've talked a couple times about having similar feelings in our hands in different situations that were very similar before we became Reiki practitioners.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense to me. If it's energy and it's out there, it's like life. It's going to find a way.
It'll find a way. And the other thing too that I really enjoyed about this class was you can send energy to pretty much anyone and it's up to them to receive it, whatever their belief says or not, that's fine. And if you have every right to not accept it, you could put it out there or to accept it even subconsciously you can. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Those are little tweaks that I did not know because I always thought like, okay, well, do I have to ask you like for physical permission to like send you good. And that's the other thing he said. It's only good energy. It's always good energy. And your body only takes, will like it knows what when you receive the energy, where to go or what to do. So I don't have to know anything about it. When it comes to that, I don't have to be like, well, I'm going to send this to
Well,
Sean
Reiki 2,
specific.
you've got to learn some
Yeah,
things.
that
Reiki 1, definitely.
Reiki 1
do
for
it.
sure. But I'm just saying like that, like, it's funny because like we always say, okay, I'm going to send you some good vibes. Like, yeah, that's what you're doing. You're sending me, I'm going to send you like those good vibes. They're not necessarily me. They're the good vibes around us. And those are, I'm just
I
going
want
to
to
direct it your
experiment
way.
with the remote Reiki a little bit more. I'm not a believer in that one yet. Put my hands and feel my hands get a bunch of energy and
Yeah.
somebody having a reaction or response to that, I've done it enough now that I believe it. I want to do it more and see how far it goes. But the remote one, I have a lot of questions about. I'm still not convinced there.
You know what?
I gotta do it a few times, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna put my energy towards it.
I'm going to say I believe it. And I'll tell you why. Because not necessarily just because of Reiki, but because I've seen people pray
Yeah.
over people that weren't even in a room. Like I've been like when I was a kid, like I've seen people gather because someone was in a hospital room and everybody gathered in prayer and sending energy to that person, and that person recovered from something
Yeah.
that was devastating. I personally saw that. Obviously not Reiki, but I had seen that and I'm thinking, wow, like this energy that's here is going somewhere. Like we didn't
Yeah.
give it like like here, follow the street and go here and turn there and go into this guy's hospital room. Like, you know what I mean? But it
It's
does.
interesting,
It's
and I don't want to
happened.
say I'm not a believer. However, with my experience at the psychic fair, I'm not a believer of that
Well,
version of it. But to say that there's not a version of it that works, honestly, I
yeah.
would have said that about Reiki at one point. But now,
So
I've done that, and it's I don't know. We'll
I
see.
I actually looked up some stats on here and let me see if I can pull them up. There was a study that was conducted by Harvard and I thought that was pretty interesting. Let me you can do that. Of course it's going to like now give me a problem, but um Reiki. Uh okay, so they did Reiki on um I think it was 1,400 it was 1,400 sessions, so 1,400 sessions, studies in Harvard. It was Harvard University that did it, believe it or not. So,
So
um
here, scientifically,
yes.
Reiki has been associated with reduction in pain in post-operative patients and those with chronic illnesses. It's been in several studies that show decrease of anxiety, stress, and depressive symptoms after Reiki sessions. Indicators of nervous system regulation often improved after Reiki. Reiki is frequently used in integrative
Mhm.
oncology clinics to support patients through chemotherapy and in-life care, easing fatigue, nausea, and emotional distress. So there's scientific
Yeah.
backing behind it as well at this point.
Yes. So here the study was a large-scale study, a multi-site effectiveness trial involving 1,411 Reiki sessions. The results published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine and the Journal of Integrative and it says indicated that a single session of Reiki led to a statistically significant improvement in psychological, and physical health outcomes. The study was conducted in 2019, so it's pretty recent. They're actually trying to figure this out, which
Well, and
is
this is interesting too. It's tools like EEG, HRV monitoring, and thermography have shown shifts during and after Reiki, lowering sympathetic activation, which is the fight or flight response,
mhm,
increased coherence in brainwave patterns, changes in skin temperature, and conductivity.
yes,
So those have also been recorded as shifts that are so it is happening.
it's
It's definitely
happening.
happening.
Clinical studies indicate that Reiki may be more effective than a placebo for reducing pain, anxiety, and improving quality of life, particularly for chronic conditions. So there is something to this. This is just based on the studies, not even anything else. It says while many studies are small or have limitation, recent meta-analysis suggest that Reiki can improve well-being by activating the sympathetic nerve system, leading to decreased heart rate and blood pressure. However, more high-quality random controls trials are still needed to continue confirming these benefits. So they are investigating all this stuff. This is something that's on the mind of a lot of people. Like, does energy really work? And does it have an effect on your body and your mind and even spiritually?
Journey's saying because so many of the effects are more experienced versus recordable. In that way, the only real proof of Reiki is you.
Oh.
Uh,
So you are the ultimate test. Let's see some of these comments here. I see a lot of them coming in. Anna Peth, I have been on both ends of remote Reiki and it does work. So there you go. Let's see. Tisha, I was going to just say no difference than the power of prayer.
yeah.
See, I believe that too. I believe that there could be a correlation between. So, there's a lot of things that I sometimes think, wow, this sounds a lot like what this side is preaching or that side is preaching, and I'm like, kind of all sounds the same.
It's kind of like
very similar.
it's kind of like a format. So remote Reiki from what I've read through in the class, because I haven't actually been able to do it yet, but for what I've read through, it's almost like a ceremonial prayer.
Yeah.
The only real difference is that with everything in Reiki, your hands kind of have to be involved. So you put something in your hands to simulate, or to simulate or to experience that other person that you're sending the Reiki to remotely.
Well, and the other thing that I thought was interesting. So obviously Reiki 1 was pretty not complicated. You kind of come in, you get in tune, you do the whole thing and you can start sending energy, you can over people or, like not necessarily, you don't even have to put your hands on them, but you just like kind of like in the areas and they show you like where different spots are for different things.
The meridians.
So there's definitely like, parts that are for physical stuff. And then there's parts that are for like mental,
And that was
trauma and all that.
one of the things I like with our instructor too. He's like, and if you don't remember these things, just put your hands where the pain is.
Right. If it's on your knee, put it on your knee.
Put it on your knee. Don't overcomplicate this.
Yeah, don't complicate it. And he did say that he says if you're using the power of Reiki on one, you might as well just use both hands for something. He's like, don't let it go to waste. And that kind of made sense to me. So like yesterday, when did we go? Tuesday? When we were doing our Reiki 2, and Sean was doing something on me, I put my hands like on my face and after like when we were done, the instructor's like, and you get a gold star because you didn't waste the energy. He said you allowed him to do the Reiki and then you also put your hands on yourself. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, okay, that kind of made sense to me. So it's kind of like, don't waste it, like use it. And I'll tell you what,
I can show you a very interesting way, Anna, next time you're here. The way our instructor taught it was very cool. I think you'll like it.
Yeah, it was super cool. And then the other thing that he also explained to us is that Reiki could be done pretty much even in your sleep.
Yeah.
Like to send the energy to be. So when you write down your intentions and you do the whole thing with Reiki 2, you can actually do that swap where you say, okay, this thing is going to represent, this group of people and that I'm going to send good energy to. And you could literally do the whole thing the way they instruct. And then you can literally go to sleep right after and you're still sending energy. So you could send like 10 hours of energy if you sleep for 10 hours.
Well, it's funny he said that because even after the first one, I was going to sleep at night and I'm like, oh, wait, my hands are just laying in the bed while I sleep. Why don't I put them on something on my body and fall asleep? And then I would wake up that way and feel amazing. So that was a very cool experience.
You know what?
Too.
Maybe that's why like Dracula like used to sleep like this. Like he was doing Reiki on himself. Like
Dracula
lay
was doing
down.
Reiki?
Yeah. You cross your arms and you put them on your chest or something.
No,
You never know.
I commonly have like chronic pain at night and I'll flop around and roll around and do all kinds of stuff. So I just started putting my hands on my chest and my solar plex area. And just doing Reiki there while I was falling asleep. And then there was a couple nights I woke up the same way the next morning. I didn't roll around at all and I felt fine.
Well, and I also did change our bed sheets now. Now we have linen bed sheets. So, because
I doubt that's what helped with my pain. I mean, the
So,
sheets are nice. Don't get me
you
wrong. I'm not criticizing the sheets, but they're not helping with my chronic
listen,
pain.
I read that they are 5,000 hertz. Linens are 5,000 hertz, which is healing, and that's why it is recommended. That's why hospitals used to use linen sheets.
So now I got to
Um,
sleep on the floor and try it just to verify my results.
well, you were sleeping horrible
Yeah,
before with
yeah.
like polyester and whatever else mixed in there. So these are 100% linen, and I feel placebo or not, I feel better, and as long as I feel better, that's all that
That's all that
matters,
matters. The end
right?
result is what matters.
Exactly. And I feel like linen is, if linen is a big thing too. There's energy in everything. So why not? Why not? All right. She says I'm always laying Anna says I am always laying hand on my shoulder. Yes. You know what? And today I actually had when we went to the Kava, Roots Kava, which by the way we love. So we swung by there today before coming home, and we had hit the little pizza place down next door, and I really shouldn't have had a slice of pizza, but I did anyway because you know what? It looked delicious.
I had a cannoli and I don't regret it.
So we're there having our kava and pizza or whatever, and then like when I left, I was like, man, my stomach feels bloated. I don't, I'm like, that pizza, like it was a lot of pepperoni. So I was like, I don't feel very great right now. And then I was like, I couldn't remember like the words to do the first symbol. And I was like, what's the word, Sean? I could put it on my stomach. And I kid you not, like when I had my hands, I drove, he was driving and I had my hands on my stomach and that bloating just kind of started going down and I started feeling better. And I'm like, you know what? I feel it, like I can physically feel it and it makes a difference. So Reiki 1 and 2, we're about to do 3 in
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Not next week, but the week after, we're going to do 3. And then I think we're going to see if we can get Neil to come on the show with us. And
I would love to have Neil here.
we'll see what he says.
So for you guys that are interested, we did take this class at Ascension Healing Center, right in it's 1059 Northeast Pine Island Road. Great people. You can check with them. I know they put schedules out there
Yeah,
on
he's starting-
Facebook and
he's
on their
starting-
website.
He's starting the next class with Reiki 1, I believe, in 3 weeks.
Okay. So and it was nice because it was intimate. It was a small class, and what was interesting, there was other people that had at least one other person that was there had already done Reiki before. So they were already, but she said maybe 10, 13 years ago, and they hadn't really practiced it a lot. So she was kind of there for just to kind of do it again. And so it was nice because he made the class so easy that we didn't have like a ton of questions because as he was going through
They
everything.
covered it.
Yeah, and the visual, so he gives you a handbook that, very simple to read and easy to follow. So it was just, okay, cool. You're there, you're listening, you're going through the whole thing, and then you're looking at it while he's talking about it. And then when you go home, you can kind of go back and then kind of look over the book and see the things that you want to kind of remember. Like the words, I need to remember those.
Right.
I'm still working on those. I need to like
All the symbols
Yeah.
in level 2, you got to remember.
Yeah, like right now, I just want to have like the copy of all the, of all the symbols and just kind of like put it up somewhere so that I can just like practice it. I remember like 3 of them. Now the other 2, that big long one for the
remote
distant one, not so much. I got to remember that one. So, but still, he said, you don't have to remember it because it's there. So you look at the handbook, everything's there. And then the more you do it, the more you're going to start being comfortable with it. But I do believe that there is something to it for sure. So let's rate this one. This is just the beginning. Obviously, we'll dive in more as we learn more, and we have some more people that we talk to and have the experience that they would love to join us on the show. I would love to talk about more. 1 to 10. What do you give Reiki?
I would say a 10 because it's definitely effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel, learning wise, 1 to 10, if you were to say someone that's never even thought about this, how fast would they learn it?
I think everybody should learn Reiki 1, and there's really not a lot to remember. There's
Right.
really not. I mean, once you get attuned, you just have a few little things to remember, but beyond that, it's put your hands on the pain.
Anna says she gives it a 10. Yes.
Everybody just had the class. Put your hands on the pain.
Yeah. Well,
If you want to go faster or beyond that, there's more to it. But
yes.
that's it. That's enough.
You can start somewhere. You can start somewhere. So I think it's great, and I love that we decided to do that. All right. So I think let's go ahead and jump into the next topic since we're almost running out of time. And this is another topic that Sean has been following now for years.
Yeah.
And we came across a practitioner.
And I've actually been watching that practitioner for a couple years now. So I took an interest in this about 3 or 4 years ago, and it keeps coming up on my Facebook, and I look into it more and think about it. I watch some of the YouTube videos and stuff like that, and then a practitioner in our area popped up, and then I've been kind of watching the growth of that. I guess I would say her company or her practice.
Yes. She is very skilled, and I don't want to go too much into her until we talk to her and see if it's okay. Then I know that she wants to be on the show, so I'm going to save it for that. So let's just talk about the beginning of this. So the QHHT.
You got Journey to explain what it is?
Yes. And we do have Tisha also said she gives it a 10. And hi, Melissa. Welcome.
QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, was developed by Dolores Cannon, a hypnotherapist whose work began in the late 1960s. Initially using traditional hypnosis techniques, Cannon began exploring past life regression with clients, which led her to discover a deeper layer of consciousness she called the subconscious, not in the Freudian sense, but as a vast, intelligent presence, also known as the higher self or superconscious. Through this expanded state of awareness, clients could access past lives, receive direct guidance, and experience spontaneous healing. Cannon formalized her process into QHHT, a technique that blends hypnosis, regression, spiritual inquiry, and energy-based healing into a single modality. Symbolically, QHHT mirrors the shamanic descent, a structured journey into altered states to retrieve wisdom and transformation. It draws from ancient roots but is expressed through modern methods, using the practitioner as a guide who helps the seeker access their own inner realms. From an investigative lens, QHHT proposes that human consciousness is multidimensional, capable of bypassing linear time and tapping into a broader field of memory, insight, and non-local intelligence. Thousands of Cannon's documented sessions contain narratives involving soul contracts, earth changes, interdimensional beings, and universal archetypes, all accessed directly through the client's voice in trance. QHHT stands at the intersection of depth psychology, mysticism, and consciousness exploration. It operates on the principle that the answers, healing, and truth we seek are already within us, awaiting only the right conditions to be heard.
That's pretty cool.
And I would say I felt some level of all of those things.
So for you guys that don't know, Sean just went through his very first QHHT session.
Tuesday.
So
all day Tuesday.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I haven't even
Betty
wanted.
threw me in the fire again. Everybody.
Yes. Just so you know, I didn't even want to ask you a whole lot of questions because I want to be surprised when I hear.
You can ask any of them.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about the process. So when we met this person who does here locally in Fort Myers, and immediately we had gone to something else that she was hosting, and
she did a webinar.
She does like different like things for the community and stuff like that. So we showed up, we met her in person without any idea of
I knew
who she. Well, you knew.
I knew
from
all
watching
these things. You didn't study. You did not do your homework. I did my homework.
Okay.
So I knew what I was stepping into.
You're such a nerd. So we went and I got to meet her, and she is amazing and just a very interesting person, very sweet, very like has that thing that gives you like a lot of comfort, like when you meet them, you know, like when you meet someone that is just like, you just feel comfortable with them. And that was kind of like the feeling I got immediately. Then Sean let me know I've been following her for like 3 years, you know, or whatever he said, like since like February of like 2 years ago. Right. And I was like, really? So we were kind of talking to her, and she does the Dolores Cannon QHHT.
She's a practitioner.
And that is a very intense learning because it is hypnotherapy, but Yeah, on a deeper level.
Well, it's in most circles. Well, I say most circles. A lot of the circles that I've seen, they really considered QHHT to be the strongest, most effective in past life regression.
Yes. And the thing that Dolores says, like when, and she's past, but she's the creator of this, she says that she calls it the subconscious, but she says it's even deeper than that.
Well, the way Dolores defines the subconscious is more of a child, and this is more super consciousness and higher self.
Right. Because she says like when people talk about like the Freudian subconscious or things that you can like like bad habits, smoking, trying to lose weight, like that kind of stuff, like that.
Things
What
your body
she
does automatically.
Yeah. Things that she goes in deeper is we're talking like even further than that. We're talking about like your consciousness, right? Of like what it was before you even came to be.
Yeah.
Right. So it's pretty interesting that so many people have different experiences with it. Let's talk about what did you have to do prior to going to your class, to your session, not class.
Prior to the class?
Prior to seeing the practitioner.
Oh, there was a couple of videos she sent me that just kind of explained what QHHT was about, but they were things that I'd already seen or done. And it just talked about what QHHT was. It talked about how to kind of have some questions prepared for your session because they want to know, what kind of things do you want to know? What kind of things do you want
like
to
your
investigate,
intention,
or what your intention is, or what you're looking for? Those kind of things.
Did it freak you out at all prior to doing it? Like, did you think like, what if I see something I don't want to see?
I mean, you get nervous because you don't know what, anytime you're talking about hypnosis or things where you're going to be taking out of your control, there is some discomfort level or nervousness, but it wasn't extreme. It was not a big deal. I'd been to other hypno sessions or hypnotherapists and stuff like that, and in the past, none of them have been able to actually hypnotize me. So my biggest concern was really, is she going to even be able to get me into hypnosis?
Right.
That was my biggest concern. So I wasn't really worried about the rest. I was just worried about whether there was going to be any kind of result.
So big question. Did she
Yes.
get you? She did.
Yeah.
And how did you know you were hypnotized? Because you were talking.
I was talking, but if you listen like to the recording,
You sound drunk.
I sound like I'm trashed. It sounds like I'm sleep talking, to be honest, and that's kind of what it felt like.
That was very cool.
It was like an incredible, if I were to honestly say, maybe 1 out of every 200 times that I do a long meditation,
Yeah.
I'll feel like I'm in that state.
Okay.
But it's that rare.
That was one of the nice things that this practitioner does is she does record your session after you are hypnotized.
Not a video, just audio.
Just audio. So you can go back and actually listen to your whole session because she's talking to you and she's guiding you, or at least trying to figure out where you are, what's going on, what are you seeing, what are you feeling, just from the questions that I was listening to her session. So Sean was there for about 5-6 hours?
5 or 6 hours, and only about 2 of it when I was under hypnosis. The other rest of the time was talking. I mean, and it makes sense. They want to get to know about your life and everything else, because if things come up, they want to know, where to guide things or where to handle things, or if, hey, this is an area I don't even want to get into if we go this route, stuff like that. Those were that was kind of the 2.5-hour talk.
Okay. And that was just basically dissecting a lot of, history, family history.
Where I'd been, where I'd lived, what my family was, if I had conflicts with family, if I had things that were still, unresolved family-wise or personally, or
Did they
different
go into
experiences
beliefs?
I've had in a lifetime.
Like what your spiritual beliefs are?
Not,
if any?
No, not really. That didn't really matter.
No? Okay.
It didn't really matter.
So this is it's definitely more like a psychological, like deep into that, not necessarily like a spiritual practice or a ceremony of some sort.
Correct.
Okay.
There wasn't really any of that. I mean, there were, I'd say almost rituals, but it's not significant. They have you do, one point in the meditation to kind of lead into it, they have you kind of, build this pyramid around yourself of protection, this white pyramid. And that to me was the only part that was really like spiritual or ritualistic. The rest was not so much.
The rest was more scientific.
I don't want you to say that, but I would say more induction to hypnosis and just see where things go.
Right. Okay. So after you go in, you have your 2-hour chat. How long did it take you to actually be go into the hypnosis?
That's a good question.
You don't know.
I don't know.
You don't know. One of the things that Sean did disclose to me
I remember
that.
that, at one point she told me to imagine 3 3s, imagine 2 2s, imagine 3 3s, imagine 3 2s, imagine 3 1s, so your angel numbers. But the actual induction beyond that, I don't remember most of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Dan, that's very interesting.
I remember most of everything else. I mean, I've even listened to the recording, and she takes that session out. I'm sure that she doesn't want people to get induced while they're re-listening to their sessions.
Right. You imagine you're in your car and all of a sudden you're like, out.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to listen to
so
that.
she takes that part out. But I've listened to the recording, and there's only 1 or 2 spots where I'd said things that I did not remember saying. So I do remember all of the rest.
Yes. Okay. So Sean, I noticed like through meditation and stuff like that, you have been progressing into being able to see more images. Like, like when people tell you close your eyes and imagine a beach. I mean, there was times where you just saw nothing, right? And now you're kind of better.
That's not really improved. It's just random.
Mhm.
So, I don't typically remember my dreams. When I go into meditations, every now and then I'll see something visual, but more often than not, I don't.
Okay.
So that was something that was concerning too, because this seemed to be very visual, and I was worried about whether or not that would be successful or not.
Right.
And it was. I had visual things happening the entire time.
Did you see in color?
Multitude of colors. There was a lot. I, for some reason, most of the stuff that I see is either lights or lit up in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not standing on a sunny beach. I don't know why. Almost never am I doing that.
Yeah. And when you were in your conversations with her, like just from the tapes or as I'm listening to them, you do sound like you're
it's not even really a conversation. It's questions and answers.
questions and you're answering.
And I mean,
yes.
if I had to try and talk, I don't know that I could have. Just answering.
Yeah, they were very
answering.
short answers, but like very 2-3 words, sometimes one, but very specific words.
Mhm.
So as she's interacting with you and trying to get more information from you, there was a point in there where you actually felt like you had like feelings, like overwhelming feelings of different.
Yeah, there was two times. There was 2 times that it was very, very, very significant. At one point I literally all of a sudden, and that was part of the problem that we had. We did have some problems with my session. My head was just going all over the place. So
Mhm.
she would try to like guide me to places, and that just wouldn't happen. I would just go wherever I'm going.
Mhm.
And I literally went from like looking at things in clouds and different places to all of a sudden I'm on the ground and it's dark and there's grass that it's covered with leaves. And I felt like I was running, but my view was literally almost sideways. It was weird. So it was like the ground was down on the bottom, but it was like my head was twisted sideways, but I was running or I was moving very, very fast. So, I could have been laying in something and going forward, or I could have been running and I just had a weird view of it or something. But I was doing that for, it could have been 5 seconds or it could have been 2 minutes. I don't know. But all of a sudden it was like, boom, it's over. And then just overwhelming amounts of sadness came to me. And I mean, literally, I was like bawling in the chair, and I'm literally telling her, I was like, I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. I have no idea why. I'm just so sad. It's overwhelming. It's just unbelievable. And I don't get it. And that lasted for a minute or two, and it was just gone.
Mhm.
But that's the weirdest part, because usually, in QHHT, my understanding was like, you would have visions and they would explain things, and you would kind of get a feeling for what was, but there was none.
Yeah.
And then later on in the session, it was, I don't know, it's hard to say the time. It was probably at least 10 minutes later.
Mhm.
I literally, again, I'm flying through space. Most of the time I was like flying through space.
Maybe you were like
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I get the sense that it was almost like an experience of where I go when I'm spirit.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I felt like. So it was like I was just traveling as spirit. I was all over the place in space. When she would ask me why I was doing it, I would tell her that I was watching. And she's like, well, why are you watching? It's like, well, that's how I pick places. Why are you picking places? I don't know. I don't know. That's what I do here. And she's like, well, are there others there? And I'm like, yeah, there's lots of them here. There's lots of stuff here.
Like
There's
everybody's here. What's up?
everybody's here. And she's like, well, how do they feel? And it's like, we don't interact here. We just don't do that here, you know? And I'm like, why would I feel that? I have
We
no
don't
idea.
interact here.
I have no idea. And this, that one,
Yeah.
when she asked me that, I was literally felt like I was in space. I had no body, and I'm looking at the void, and in the far distance is the tremendous light, tremendous light. So, I mean, you tell me what it sounds like where I was,
Yeah.
you know? And then she's like, well, there are others there. I'm like, everybody's here.
Like, did you just know that?
Everybody's
Everybody's
here. I know that. And she's like, oh, how do they feel about things? Like, I don't know. We don't interact here. We don't do that. And then I'm gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it was a lot like that. It was about, I don't know, about 10 minutes after the first sadness experience. I'm literally in space, and all of a sudden I'm in this bright space. I don't even know what it is. And this tremendous bright light came from almost below me, and it came like right up into my visual, into what I would presume was my chest, because I didn't feel a body at that time. And then right when it got about even with my face, that sadness hit me again.
Really?
And it was the same thing.
In space?
No,
Like in that,
I don't know where I was.
Empty space? Okay.
I don't know where I was at that time. The only focus I had was the light.
Was the light? Okay.
And the light went up like above what I would figure where my head would be if I had a body at the time, and I just felt tremendous heat. And then that heat was sadness, and I'm bawling again, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea why. This is overwhelming sadness. I have no idea what this is about. And she's like, well, why do you feel sad? What kind of sadness is it? It's overwhelming. That's what kind it is. I don't know. And then
I can hear it in your voice too in the recording. You're just like, I'm just so sad, you know? And I was like, that does not even sound like Sean, because Sean does not express that type of feeling at all. Like ever. I think I've seen him be emotional one time, and or twice, because people have passed. That is it.
And that lasted maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and then I was gone from there, and the sadness was gone. Just as fast as it came, it was gone. And then I'm, and this makes me suspicious that part of it is my imagination, because this is so bizarre. After that, I literally went to this place where I don't see myself or my body. It's like I'm traveling as energy. And I just came out. I see this planet. It's just coming and coming and coming, and gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
A planet?
And a whole planet. And as I got close, I'm looking, and it's like, this looks like red blocks. This looks like somebody made this. This is, and finally I told her, I was like, this is not real. I don't know where I'm at, but this is not real. And then it's like, this is a prototype. And I was like, what is a prototype of? What does that matter for anything? This is a prototype of a planet? And then I'm gone somewhere else.
Really?
And it was literally 2 hours of experiences like that. So I think, I'm going back again in January. I'm going to do another one, because I think that it's just my mind going
too many
places. And she would try to guide me to things, but it would never, it kind of would never pan out. I was just going where I was going, and I was going all over the place. And
you were that uncontrollable person that she had a session with. That's why she's like, come back.
Well, there was 4 or 5 times where I listened to it in the recording. I kind of got frustrated, and I'm like, she wasn't keeping up with me. She's asking me questions about things, or assuming things are connected to what I'm describing now. But that was like,
and then you zoomed
that was 4
thing.
seconds ago. We've done 10 other things by now, because it was like moving that fast. But just the fact that I had a visual experience for 2 hours, that's
incredible.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm meditating and I get an image of something, it's a 5-10 second thing, and then it's darkness again. But, something else that was very interesting was I was seeing a lot of, when I meditate, I do often get, like visuals of moving through like a wormhole or a tunnel, or, like on Star Trek when you see all the stars shoot at you.
Yeah.
I was getting a lot of those, and she started asking me, she's like, well, where are you going? And I was like, I don't know. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm in this tunnel, and we're cruising. And she's like, what are the colors in the tunnel? I'm describing the colors in the tunnel. And she's like, so it's red. And I was like, no, it's not anymore. We're in a white one now.
You can't keep up with it.
All of a sudden, out of the blue,
yeah,
you're being distracted.
Distracted? What
and
does that mean?
I heard it in my head 5 or 6 times. I was like, this whole tunnel is a distraction.
Oh, wow.
And I said that to her, and she's like, well, why? And it's like, because we never get anywhere.
You just
It's a
keep going
tunnel.
in-
This is a tunnel to nowhere. You don't get anywhere. You're just, every now and then you're in a tunnel. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a distraction. And I've never had that feeling about that before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see it in my meditations, but I've never been like, you know what, this is something distracting me.
Yeah.
And then, you know, at the very end, she starts doing the thing where she's trying to get more answers about what you saw out of your subconscious.
Yes.
And that was the only one that she could get an answer for, is why were you saying it's distracting?
Mm-hmm.
And literally, it didn't even come from me. It's just, it's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. And then she's like, well, what do you mean it's a trap? And I was like, I don't know. I'm just hearing it's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. That's all I'm hearing.
Wow.
And, you know, that was very bizarre, because that was not, you know, that was the first one that was almost like, that was almost a audible response
Yeah.
that I didn't make.
Oh.
You know, everything else was just, I got this impression, or I got this feeling. I got a feeling you're
And
being
you
distracted.
processed it and then said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it still got filtered through me, and maybe it's part of my imagination or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that one was just like it was like almost an audible answer
Instant.
right away. It's a trap.
Oh.
It didn't say it 5 or 6 times, but once it's processed in my head, I was like, it's a trap. This is a trap. Something's in a trap. You know,
Yeah.
this is not intended for what you're supposed to experience.
Interesting. You did say that in your recordings that you saw a purple fog a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes it would be thicker, and
Mhm.
sometimes it would be, you know, transparent.
Yeah.
And was that fog, like, in a way, did you feel connected to the fog, or was it just present there? Or was there
You know,
anything?
I've had some time since the QHHT to think about it, and I think that's very much connected to things that I've seen in other experiences we've done.
Mhm.
You know, there's a couple of experiences that we haven't really talked about yet for the show, and we'll kind of maybe do those later on. But,
Mhm.
you know, in some of these states, when we're doing these things, I see this black, like, fog or black cloud, and that black cloud is usually very angry with me.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, I don't know why, but that black cloud, when I see it, is usually not good.
It's you.
It felt like that was the
Interesting.
same thing, only it wasn't angry there.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I don't know. That was just, that's very bizarre, but that ties into a lot of other things.
So we do have some questions on here. Tisha saying, interesting. Do you remember most of what you say when you're under hypnosis?
I remembered, and I can't say the same is true for everybody else, because that's one of the things, if you look into QHHT now, the way they do it now is not normally like the amnesia kind of hypnosis that you're expecting.
Like
So
the
you
stage
are-
one where people like cluck like chickens and dance around and have no idea.
That's something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you know, the one where people are almost amnesia type and then don't remember anything. That's not what this is.
Yeah.
You're aware, and literally, I mean, at any point I could have been like, you know what, enough of this, and I'm pretty sure I could have got up and left that session.
Yeah.
So I was aware. I did remember. When I listened to the audio, there's two areas that I don't quite remember. But again, I mean, it was 2.5 hours of questions and visuals that I'm still trying to sort out in my head.
Yes. Let's see. Anna loves this. And she also said something about the leaves. Can you scroll up a little bit? About it says jumping in piles of racked leaves. Does that
Interesting. You remember most of what you say. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think
It's possible it was a past life, Tisha, and that's one of the things I'm kind of considering. But you know, right before the sadness, I really felt like there was a bubble of some kind in my heart, and that bubble just kind of felt like it popped, and then that wave of sadness came over me. And you know, thinking back at that, that's possibly a remembering of me dying. So is it that? I don't know for sure. Would I potentially feel that way if it was? Then yeah, that would make sense.
Okay. And Anna Peth is saying it's dark energy that wants to keep you from the light, maybe?
I don't feel it's that, but
No.
maybe similar.
Maybe like a shadow work thing. Like something you have to look at
Yeah.
and acknowledge and like alchemize with. You know?
That ties into different experiences that I'm not ready to talk about yet. So,
Yeah.
but in this situation, it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just, and you know, when I was moving around, a lot of times that cloud would get in the way of what I was trying to see. So,
Yeah.
you know, it was just a weird, like a purple haze that was often surrounding me, and you know, like little holes would open up in it, and I could see little things through it, and I'd be like, you know what, I want to see more of that, and it would close up, and it would move around, it would kind of obstruct my view a little bit,
Yeah.
and that was there probably I don't know, probably 35% of the hypnosis. But then there were other areas where it was just completely gone and I was wide open to see everything I wanted to see.
Did you have any physical changes? Because obviously I did not see you, so I only heard you. But did you have like sweating or get cold or shake or
The
anything more like that?
the practitioner said my whole body jumped and she thought I was going to jump up at the point where, the leaves just suddenly end and then that sadness and everything overwhelmed me. She said right when that happened, it looked like my body jolted, like I was going to jump up out of the chair.
Yeah.
And then there's a section of the QHHT where they talk about physical ailments or your health and different things like that.
Hmm.
And the hope is that your higher self will help you heal from those things, or at least give you an idea why these things are happening to you, stuff like that. I didn't really have the experience of getting the answers for that, but while that piece was going on,
Yeah.
I got incredibly hot. And this room was, it was relatively cold. I had a sheet over me and I wrapped my feet a little bit because it was a little cold on my feet before we started.
Hmm.
But the room was nice and cool. It was not hot in the room whatsoever. I didn't have a bunch of blankets or anything over me, and my entire body got hot to the point that I felt like I was starting to sweat.
Hmm.
And that was towards the end of the session.
This is very interesting. So this is just the beginning as we explore these things, but
Yeah.
I want to say your experience is pretty cool because number one, I trust you. And I know that I can get direct answers. And I know that you're the type of person that if you felt nothing and felt it was hooey,
Mhm.
you would literally tell me this is crap,
Yeah.
in not so many words. So I appreciate that from you because that always makes me feel okay, this makes sense. If someone that's so logical has an experience and let's just say doesn't believe in all the hooey stuff, it's good to know that there is a possibility of exploring things in our subconscious that we may not understand or have or access frequently, right?
Mhm.
Now the question is, what do you do with this after you've done something like this? But that we will
But
explore.
this particular one, I think I got to go back because I've
Yes.
got to understand better. So I think I went too many places to really get understanding.
Yes, absolutely. And who knows, maybe with time and exploring different things and, you might see more stuff. I don't know. Maybe this is like Reiki. You are only going to receive what you are meant to receive
I
or
think that's like everything they say. Everything we go to, you hear that. So I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe. I just want to thank you guys so much for listening. Today we had two very interesting topics, and we are definitely going to continue exploring them as we progress in the levels of these things.
Hmm.
And so far, QHHT. Let's give it 1 to 10. 1 being 10 being awesome. Where are you at?
I'm going to say that I need to go back and further explore. So I'm going to say definitely at this point,
Like a 7?
8, but it's
8?
got a potential of being a 10. But I need to explore better. I need to see if there's actually understanding to be had from more of what I've seen.
I'm so excited.
Right.
I'm so excited for you to go back and see what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? I really, really am so excited. And yes, absolutely. Tisha, we could talk about this for days,
Yeah.
hours.
The longer you get me talking about all the things I've seen, the more there is to say, because the more I think about it, the more I remember the visuals. So I remember all the things I said, but the details and the visuals,
Yeah.
I'm still remembering some of those or more details of the things that I saw. So it could be
Yes.
interesting. More time.
I'm so excited to see how it unfolds for you. And I feel that could be the beginning of you being able to be more comfortable into actually exploring more into it. And I wonder if now that they've hypnotized you once, is it going to be easier to hypnotize you again? I think so. They put little
Yoli,
keywords in there.
yeah. The practitioner, she believes this gets easier every time because, like I said, I've had 2 or 3 other hypnosis sessions where I'm just like, yeah, it just did not happen. One of them, they got me lightly induced, but it lasted for maybe 2-3 minutes, not 2 hours. So this was something different, and I don't know what the pieces are that make it different because I don't remember the induction, unfortunately. So that was something I hope to be able to analyze a little bit. It's I don't remember how she induced me into this, but apparently it's trickier than that.
Tamara is saying interesting perspective. Hypnosis slash QHHT is amazing, almost as if you're looking at your own life as an observer, but in real time. She loves QHHT.
That was one of the interesting things too, because I expected there to be some experiences or visuals or memories.
Yeah.
Nothing of it came from this lifetime.
Oh,
Nothing of it did. There was nothing about right now. There was nothing about my past in this lifetime. There was
not even our dogs?
none of it.
Nothing?
I didn't see dogs. I didn't see none of that.
All right. Well, you guys, our hour is up, unfortunately, but we can talk about this for days. I hope you guys come back next Thursday for more interesting topics just like these. And keep following us on the journey, the human experience of spiritual enlightenment. And also for you guys, remember that we are looking into and are now going to be working with the Southwest Florida Horse Rescue to be able to do another wonderful experience of sound bath, wireless headset, and breath work coming up, and surrounded by beautiful horses and a beautiful sunset. So, definitely something that we're working on, and we will be bringing that soon. Um, Anything you want to say before we go?
Stay sovereign.
You stay sovereign. Guys, thank you so much. Come back, keep following us, and don't forget to listen to the Journey Frequencies of Radio. It's the station that keeps you grounded and uplifted all in one.
We are the seekers, barefoot and wide-eyed, with hands to the sky and questions inside. We follow the whisper, the ache in our bones, not for answers but to feel we're not alone. This is the journey, not a map but a spark. We walk the unknown with wide open hearts, sharing the moments, the shift and the sign, so you don't have to walk it alone this time.
We try the old ways, the breath and the flame. We sit with the silence, we call it by name.
This is the journey,